What's going on, guys? I'm YST and we're back playing some Raid Shadow Legends. And today we're going to be checking out the recently buffed Elegaius and how good that they can be in 2025. Like, these ratings I think is pre-buff, and I really do believe they should refresh this every single time a champion gets it. But since the buff, is he still trash or does he get a pass? That's the whole idea of today's video. So I guess while we're just checking out the kit, let's put on a secret room run for stage 7. And I feel like the wave potential, a particular boss we're going to be checking out as well in the Eternal Dragon. That was actually one of the reasons I prolonged this video, because I feel like that's one of the key areas Elegaius shines. And yeah, as you see, against waves and those same affinities, he could be a real cool lockout champion. And when paired with someone like Michelangelo, who has that debuff transfer effect, you can actually get some real value out of that A1 as well with that block active skills to take down those mythical champions or some further control against these waves. So yeah, let's just bring up the rebalance here. I know that we're a bit late, but better late than never. So the A1 used to be a 25% chance of placing that block active skills. Like I mentioned, stopping those mythical champions from metamorphing or just adding that further control against enemies. But now it's a 50% chance bookable up to a 60% of that same ability, which I think is a nice change to that A1. On the A2, beforehand it was putting all of the skills on cooldown and placing a block buff debuff for 2 turns. But if the enemy had any duplicate champions, it would add that same effect to them. And that was very niche, right? We think about how many times do we see the same champion against these waves. It's pretty rare outside of maybe some Doom Tower stuff or some dungeons, and it just really wasn't relevant, and that's where some of those poor ratings were coming from, right? Because it was so niche. But what it's changed to now is puts the target skills on cooldown and places the block buffs. So the ability itself is the same, but it now has, if an enemy champion shares the same affinity of the initial target, will also apply those same effects. This is a drastic change for this champion. Now, is it still niche? Absolutely. Is it situational? Absolutely, because you really need to know who you're facing against before considering this champion, right? And as we were just seeing in that secret room, if you're facing these multiple affinity champions, Elegaius can be a real game changer, especially with this skill being on a 3-turn cooldown. Because when we factor in some of these other lockout abilities, yes, they just do it to everybody like a Warlord, a Yumiko, a Crixia. The cooldowns of this champion is actually really nice on a 3-turn. You can recycle this with reset champions or rely on gear sets and masteries or whatever that may be. And just cycle back round to this once again to lock out some other opponents. And the way that I like to use it is just look at a wave and be like, who's going to be causing me the biggest issue here? Is it a damage dealer, maybe a protector, a healer? And just take it accordingly. But we'll see that in action throughout these runs. And then lastly, it's now an AoE ability on the A3 with a 100% chance once booked of not removing 2 random buffs, but all buffs. So you could just take away their protection, all of their offensive stats, and just push them back. And also has that chance of decreasing the turn meters with an additional turn meter decrease by 10% for each buff removed. And because you're removing all buffs now, you're just going to have a greater value against these buff-heavy targets. So let's just take down that rebalance skills noose and just finish off this run here. So this wave on stage 7 of the secret rooms of the hard Doom Tower, all of these champions are actually magic, and this is playing to our advantage, right? We're able to lock out all of these champions. We can also pair it with some further control with someone like the True Fear champion in the lead position in Morrigan. And yeah, those enemies will just never stand a chance and can help you on some of these tedious waves, right? We're not going to be going through all of the waves because it's going to be a very similar thing. For example, if we was going against this wave here on 119, let's just get Elegaius in there very briefly. We'd be approaching it in a very similar way. So more of a progression champion, I would say. So can this load in here, please? Here we go. So we've got 3 spirit champions and we've got 2 void champions, and we got to think to ourselves, who's going to be causing us the biggest threat, right? Like Harvest Jack could give us some crowd control. We've got that big damage coming out from Cupidus. Whereas someone like Aniqui, Blood Twin, and Vizix the Unbowed could be the bigger threat here, in my opinion. So we can go in, lock them out, ensure they don't get some buffs if there were some other protectors in the team. And then we can use a Donatello, who was a fusion champion. We can now go in here, decrease the cooldowns, bring Elegaius back to that ability again. It's alright if Harima dies here. It's all good. So boom, we got some crowd control, is what it is. That's all good. But you see that we've locked out these champions, so Anifu couldn't kill my Harima. Now, if we wanted to, we could technically use someone like Michelangelo, spread that block buffs and that decreased defense, and you can really carry that with also the A1 of Elegaius, because you can place the block active skills on an enemy, and then transfer affected to everybody, and now you've got some more lockout. But like I was saying, because we've now reset with Donatello, we can lead in, lock out the next set of enemies, and now you've got full control. So yeah, not as effective as someone like a Yumiko doing it all in one instance, but on such a short cooldown, it really works very well with someone like Donatello, right? Because we get that 2-turn duration down, and it's only a 3-turn cooldown for Elegaius. So cool, let's see if we can just reset this here. I did want to show you the block active skills transfer, just so you can see that in action. Let's see if we can just get it out straight away. Yes, we did. So let's just get some protection, it's all good, some 10-meter fills. It's all good. Just take out my Harima. It's all good. We just want to show the abilities here. Okay. They're just cutting it through all of our enemies here. So we could lead in with this ability here. Boom. Apply block active skills to everybody. And now you've got some more control. So I feel like for an accessible champion that we've got in Michelangelo, synergizing with Elegaius, I feel like this is where this champion can really get a lot of value for our progressing player, right? And then we could just lead in, boom, get some reset cooldowns. Come in again, let's just say you got the increased attack now, you can make that decision once again. Boom, we want to take away that increased attack and get more value from that 10-meter drop with that ability. One thing we also didn't touch on was the survivability passive, so let's just go into that quickly. As you see, this team could probably carry the hardest stage of the Doom Tower in terms of waves. So passively, that wasn't on, is it not going to let me read it? Oh, there we go. So it prevents this champion's death and keeps them alive on 1 HP when hit by a fatal hit. If this skill prevents this champion's death, will heal them by 30% of their max HP, fills their 10-meter by 30%, and applies a shield buff on them equal to 30%. However, if they're under heal reduction, it's just going to be an instant death for this champion. And I just feel like this is a real good form of protection for the champion because, let's just say, they're a target, they're now getting nuked, there's that chance to just stay alive, get back into the fight, and hopefully just come back and retaliate, right? Place a block active skills potentially, or just lead into that lockout ability. So yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of waves that's going to carry into the Curse City, Faction Wars Hard, any of these kind of duplicate affinity wave champions. Elegaius is really going to shine. Before we go into the next part of this video with the Eternal Dragon and the PvP battles, I did just want to quickly go over some other reset champions, just to give you a glance of that. So Yumiko, as we see, 5-turn cooldown once booked, and it's only a 3-turn increase, right? Or decreased cooldown. Whereas with Elegaius, it's all skill cooldowns on a 3-turn, but the drawback is it's affinity focused, so it's more niche, whereas Yumiko could just be used against all enemies regardless. But the skill lockout itself is comparable to Warlord, right? Because if we go into Warlord, attacks all enemies and puts each of the target skills on full cooldown here, but this is on a 4-turn cooldown. So yeah, Warlord's obviously going to be a better champion, Void, and all of that good stuff. But all in all, Elegaius is a nice little budget solution for players that don't have access to these Void legendaries, right? Because they're very limited, and even someone like Crixia, it's a mythical champion we're speaking about here, right? With that lockout ability. So yeah, definitely a champion to consider if you're looking for that, but let's just head into the Eternal Dragon. I did want to put a quick stop guide to Elegaius as well for players that don't want to stay towards the end, which is completely fine. We've started doing these infographics for hellhades.com on the champion guides. We're working through them slowly but surely. They are a bit time intensive. But this one here, you can have a little bit of a screenshot if you want to. A quick guide for you guys in terms of relics, blessing recommendations, some gear and stats that you want to be focusing on. And yeah, nice little guide there just to slip in here. And there's also a champion spotlight that will be leading off the champion guide on the website. for anyone interested that I wrote. So, okay, let's go back into the Doom Tower. And Eternal Dragon. So I put together a fun little team. I was trying different combinations, all of that good stuff. And the main thing is, you can put this boss's skills on cooldown and it becomes a much easier fight if you do so. And in my opinion, nobody does it better than Elegaius because of the cooldowns of the champion, right? So let's just head straight into here. And you know, Duchess you don't need Duchess here or anything like that. It's a very flexible team because the boss is only going to be locked down to using his A1 ability with the way that we're using this. I do have a little preset here. So all of our champions save their skills, their dominant skills on cooldown. So we're just going to be taking out a wave 1. So let's just go in here with the A1 and boom. Okay, we're here. So I'm going to put this on a 1-time speed. So a block debuffs. This is something that I do recommend if running this strategy or a passive cleanser like Tuhanarok or Doom Priest. Both very, very ideal to put into these kinds of teams because the boss is going to use that A1, which has a chance of placing you with the block active skills. And if you don't have a way to counter that or enough resistance to resist it or a cleanser to cleanse it, you could be put in a bad situation, right? But as you see here, all skills are available, but now we put it on cooldown. They're now all on a 3-turn. We've now reset with Donatello, so we're ready to go again. We're going to apply a HP burn for some damage reflection. And then we're going to let the boss take a hit. The decreased attack of our Michelangelo's clutch here as well. Boom, we're blocking all of that block active skills and we're good to go. Now we could make a decision here. Do we want to lock out again? Do we want to push back some turn meters? We can really just depend on what we want to do here. But now, we're just going to push back some turn meters. Why not? And yeah, I guess we could just put some continuous heals on, right? Why not? And we could get the decreased accuracy out with our Geomancer too. Here, we're going to take him out. You can get some more increased cooldown for your champions. So many ways to get back to that Elegaius skill once more. Let's just do A1 here. Just prove that we don't even need it that consistent as well. Boss going to be using A1. But you do want to make sure that you're using the priest because he gets that extra turn out of it. So boom, all good. And then now the skills are down to 1 turn. Putting them back on cooldown. They can't do anything. And because all the champions are void as well, we're spreading that block buffs onto everybody. Now we can just start working on killing these enemies as well. Let's just go like this. Why not? We'll focus on this champion for now. Get him out of the way. Getting some more damage reflections. Okay, Elegaius showing off a bit there. Get a reset of cooldown. Dead. Now we're going to focus back onto the boss again. Because it is a single target lockout, you do want to make sure that you're prioritizing the boss. Boom. Increase cooldown back up to 3 turns. And for anyone struggling with this boss, this is probably up there with one of the best champions, if not the best champion in the game, for taking it down just simply because of the cooldowns, right? Simply because of those cooldowns. And you just have full control. All you need is a cleanser, block debuffs champion, you're good to go. As you see, Geomancer just took a bit of a hit there. But before you know it, the boss is down. Like, Geomancer is nice. Do you need it? No, it's just ideal and just speeds up the process. But you could just opt in for a Thor, some damage dealer, some more damage reflection. Get creative, but main thing is block that block active skills or cleanse it and lock out with Elegaius and you're good to go. But very good synergy with Donatello, for sure. Because if we just head into Donatello, if we go to recently used, we're getting that increased cooldown or decreased cooldown for our allies and also the increased speed to cycle. We've got a cleanse as a safety feature for if those debuffs come through. And then the synergy with Michelangelo is placing decreased attack and spreading those debuffs to Elegaius places. So yeah, real fun to play the turtles as well alongside this champion. So okay, let's head into PvP just to wrap this video up. And then we'll go into more in-depth guide for the builds and how I've got the champion built today. So I did actually face this team yesterday, and one thing that you want to consider if using for PvP is, especially in classic or tag team arena, is the affinities that you're facing. For example, if we want to fight this team here, we can just go into auto, it's fine. We know that there's a bunch of magic champions, right? And we can make full use of the ability. So let's just head into here. We're going to go a little boost. And we could be like, oh, He-Man's going to absolutely smack us, right? Do we want to be dealing with that? No. So we're going to put the skills on cooldown. Let's get a bit of protection. And now if we wanted to, we could debuff transfer, but everyone is under stone skin. So I'm just going to go with an AoE. Try crack down a bit of their damage there. So now we're under heal reduction. This is actually one of the reasons I saved this team as well. Because now if we receive a fatal hit, our Elegaius is in jeopardy here. So just be wary of the champions that you're facing as well. And then here, we can now lead in with the A3 and potentially remove these buffs. There we go. We removed a good portion of it there. Now we're going to reset our cooldowns to come back around to that increased cooldown effect. Beautiful. Now we're going to get a bit of a cleanse. Take off that heal reduction. We definitely don't want that on. Decrease defense. Apply it to Lemonissi here. All right, we're going to take out He-Man with that turtle synergy. Boom. Now we're going to increase the cooldown of Utor. Nothing you can do about it, you know? So yeah, like, for PvP, is it going to be meta? Is it going to be the most busted champion you've ever seen in the game? Absolutely not. But from a standpoint of progression, you want to increase cooldown champion. It's a fun little one. And you know, for PvP as well, guys, you could even think about not even booking the champion if you don't want to use elsewhere, because that A2 ability, yes, you need it for to bring it down to a 3-turn, but to just use the ability once in a PvP fight, you can get away with it without books, you know? You can get away with it without books and just put some key champions on cooldown. So same kind of thing. We've got 3 magic champions. We want to lock out Alice. Everybody else gets block buffs as well. So there is a potential of getting polymorph, but the game's the game, right? That's just rated 2025. And yeah, they're just locked down to the A1s now. They can't do anything, guys. They can't do anything. I'm just going to go with AoE. Kill them. Why not? Oh, perfect. So now we got some buffs here. And the Cheshire Cat is hiding behind all of these buffs. What can we do? Lead in. Take them all off. Now he becomes a target for our champions. A1, lead in with Michelangelo and Dead. Pretty cool, right? Let's just try find one more team with some multiple affinities. So even here, like a Duchess Lilitu, you know, you can take this off, but it's going to redirect the hit to UDK, who's the positive affinity. Void, potential. Let's get one more reset here, see. Oh, so, okay, here we go. So we got 3 spirit champions. Perfect. I'm not going to go against some crack teams because it's just no point. Like, no endgame player is going to use this champion. This is more from a player that doesn't have a lockout champion, right? I'm looking for one. Okay, so here we've got 3 spirit champions. So, of course, we don't want to focus on Madame Ceres here, right? We want to stop Marta from placing the counterattack. We want to stop Fabian from doing his crazy stuff. And boom, they cannot do absolutely nothing, guys. Nothing. Reset with Donatello once again. And then now we can lead in and lock out the Void champion. So it's all about cycling here. Okay, now we can just cleanse. We can go... We'll just do a single target for now. Apply decreased defense elsewhere. Now we're going to lock out Madame Ceres. Now they can't do the strip ability either. We're going to then re-up cleanse of Donatello. So real cool synergy here. Nothing. Just an A1 ability. That's all they can do, guys. Now we're going to push back their turn meters. And set up for Michelangelo to finish off the job. Let's just take out some Wukong. Leave on auto. And boom, Shell Cyclone takes them down. So yeah, that was pretty much it in terms of the showcase, guys. Like I mentioned, it can be carried into everywhere else that you really want these effects, so we don't have to spend all day doing it. But let's just head into the champion now and speak about the kit more in detail. So at the moment, I've just gone with Perception because it's relatable. Everyone can get this from farming the faction wars, and it caters to 2 of the main stats that you want for your Elegaius, because you're getting accuracy plus 40 and speed plus 5%, and I've just put it all around the board here. Now, the damage multipliers aren't crazy. I would recommend going HP percent or defense percent for some more survivability. But for me, myself, against some waves and some tougher ones in the Cursed City, I just like having that extra bit of damage because sometimes it's like that crit can actually be the difference between killing the wave and not killing the wave. And I just found it real fun just to have a crit cap, Elegaius. I personally like the champion. I've gone HP percent here with an accuracy ascension with a nice quad roll speed. Granted, it's only a 5-star piece of gear though, unfortunately. How many quad speeds do you guys have on your accounts? I'm interested to know. I've then got speed here. Before the video, I actually tried to rework it. Or with Chaos Dust it, and I did it 3 times. I was like, I can't afford anymore. But you want speed over speed ascension, ideally, with some accuracy as your substats. And then we're going accuracy here on the banner. I've gone crit damage mainly for the accuracy roll here, and also with crit capped, so why not? And then we've gone just a little Slayer set here, but mainly I would go HP or defense usually. I just don't have a lot of Slayer gear. But yeah, HP percent, defense percent. You could go accuracy main stat as well if you're lacking on your accuracy stats. And yeah, that's just some of the key priorities here. Overall stats for my build is 76,000 HP. We could have took this higher, but is what it is. 2.8k defense, pretty nice speed at 291. 100% crit rate, decent crit damage, and the main thing being the accuracy down here. Above 500 is what I've got. I usually like to sit around 6 to 650, personally, for some of my other champions. In terms of relics, I'm currently rocking the Hand of Uncreation, mainly because the main stat is accuracy plus 51, just the level 9 here. But reduce the chance of applying debuffs, stealing or removing buffs, stealing 10 meter, or increasing the skill cooldown on the wearer by 10%. And I got some cool little gemstones here just to put on. But some other ones I like to consider is potentially Wand of Submission, but it's not a meta champion, so maybe save that for some of your other ones. But Temporal Stagnator is one that I really enjoy for this champion. Or like for this champion, should I say, because I don't have one. Man, I'm so bad at this. Let's just head into Temporal here. So Wearer has a 20% chance to remove, steal, or convert buffs, or increase the skill cooldowns when landing as a weak hit. So if you're landing against those wrong affinity champions, being a magic one, still has a chance to do so, right? Which I think is pretty cool. And you could also opt in for the Perch Shadow, for anyone that's doing Faction Wars hard, which has a chance of receiving an extra turn, so you can lead back into that A3 or that A2, because the A3 is on a 4-turn cooldown, right? So yeah, that was it in terms of relics. In terms of blessings, Temporal Chains, Polymorph, or Brimstone, if you're facing something like Eternal Dragon. For me, I've just got Polymorph, but Temporal Chains also have a very viable option here. And Mastery-wise, I've gone down to War Master for bosses. But you could easily switch this up and go down to Eagle Eye for accuracy plus 50 and making full use of Laura's Steel for some more set bonuses. And Cycle of Magic to come back round to that A3 more frequently, right? And also the Sniper here to help out with that A1 to further place block active skills on a higher chance. So yeah, Eagle Eye, more PvP focused, or just wave based that's high resistance. Or War Master if you're just facing it kind of everywhere, right? And you just want a bit more damage out of your build against bosses. In terms of some other stuff you could consider, in terms of the gear sets, because it's very flexible. As long as you got the core stats of HP percent, defense percent, accuracy, and speed, it's very flexible depending where you're using them. Because 4 perception, or 6 perception, or 4 plus speed or impulse being the better option here. If I could just find it. So this gives you speed plus 12% and a 12% chance to reduce a random skill cooldown, helping you get back round to this A3 more frequently, right? You could consider 4 Relentless plus 2 Perception, so you're granting those extra turns, so you can get more chances of locking out other affinity champions. Where's Relentless? If we could just quickly find it. Man, there's so many sets in Raid nowadays, guys. My gosh. Relentless. You guys, it's there, YST, it's there. There it is. So 18% chance of granting that extra turn, with consecutive chances reducing by 45%. So, you know, get back round to that A2 or A3 again. And also for PvP, you could be going Feral, right? Placing block debuffs on the wearer at the start of the round, and a chance of preventing that polymorph placement from blessings as well. Or the, where is it? Or Pinpoint, right? It's probably right here. There we go. So this is basically to block those crowd control attempts from the wearer, and also granting you all of this accuracy and speed throughout the bonus stats with the intercept stacks too. So very nice. And then if you're more of an endgame player and you really want the most out of Elegaius, right? Like you really want to use it in some faction limited posts of Siege, perhaps, in like some undead ones, or for instance. You could be going like Stone Skin / Supersonic, or Stone Skin Feral, Stone Skin Pinpoint, right? You could switch it up a little bit. So you've got a bit of protection from the Stone Skin buff, and you're also getting all of the accuracy stats or cutting in with Supersonic if you're losing the speed race, right? Supersonic, can we find it? Supersonic! Supersonic! There you go. Because at the 4 set, even at 4 set, you get fills his champion turn meter by 2% for each buff on each enemy. So you can cut in, you got stone skin to survive the first hit, and then yeah, boom, you can get your skills out. So on that note, that is going to be all for today's video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and let me know which champions you'd like to see up next. I just wanted to cover a cool Halloween champion, and leading back to the initial idea for the video, does the buff get a trash or does it get a pass? I think it gets a pass, honestly. Like, the changes were pretty needed, right? Because we're now doing it against same affinity instead of duplicate champions, so it's less niche than it was before. I don't believe every champion in the game has to be the meta or broken, as long as they're relevant and can be worth investing and be useful for a player. That's kind of like the goal, right? And have some use for a progressing player. Block active skills is nice, could be transferred by someone like your Michelangelo that players may have got, and yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with the changes, honestly. I like the champion. But yeah, have an amazing rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you all on a video soon. Peace.